Hey, Sean here for the Rusty Shovel TV, and in this video I want to talk about a new sprinkler that we brought into the fold here, the Super Pro from K-Rain. K-Rain been a very innovative company in the irrigation space for quite some time, doing it for other people. Now they're into doing it for themselves. Very cool company to work with as far as the innovations that they're bringing to the products that you don't see a whole lot of innovation being done with. So the Super Pro Rotor, very cool in a lot of ways, very easy to set. So I'm going to walk you through basically all those things. So the first thing, I don't have it popped up all the way with our headlock tool here, but basically it's going to give you a 5-inch pop. So typically your 3/4 inch rotor head is going to be a 4-inch pop. This gives you that extra inch just to get up over any tall grass that might be in your way. The next very cool thing about this, super easy to set. So there's basically an arrow on the top here that points in the direction at a number of the pattern that you want it to do. So if you want it to do 90 degrees, you basically just turn this arrow with a flathead screwdriver and it's going to point at 90 degrees. Now it's, instead of doing 180, it's doing a 90-degree pattern. Very cool, very easy to follow. You don't have to guess, well, how many times do I have to turn this sprinkler set screw to be able to get it to do exactly 180 or exactly 90. You can do it right out of the box. You know what that sprinkler is going to do. The next thing is to get it spraying in the right direction. So the nice thing about this, just like a spray head, you don't have to try and turn this thing onto the further onto a riser or anything like that, like you do with some 3/4 inch rotors. This guy actually has a ratcheting stem like a spray head. So it sounds like you're breaking it. You're not. Grab below the gray part at the black part, the second kind of part of the stem. That's going to move it in the direction that you want it to go. So you just ratchet it into place. Super easy to set. Now, one of the, I think probably the best feature of this sprinkler is the flow control and the shutoff. So there's actually, most sprinklers, when you set them, you're actually turning a little set screw down into the spray, breaks up the spray and cuts down the distance. But when you're doing that, it actually kind of screws up the distribution of that sprinkler a little bit the more you turn that set screw down. So you're limited to 25% of distance reduction on each nozzle. So you're cycling through a lot of nozzles in a lot of cases. Well, instead of using that application or that method of reducing the distance, K-Rain's actually built a flow control into the head. There's an on-off switch here where you'll actually just take your little flathead screwdriver, turn that in the off position. It's going to bring the spray down. So the specs on the sprinkler are basically like about 26 feet to 49 feet normal operating out of the box without using that flow control. So you can reduce those numbers up to 50%, which is very cool. So we're going to be using these primarily in that 20 to 35 foot range in most residential applications, but if you really need to, you can get it down to 13-15 feet with that 15% reduction with the smallest nozzle. If you have the water supply in a commercial setting, you can go all the way up to 49 feet. So very versatile sprinkler, and all that is done without breaking up the distribution of the water. So you're going to get more even coverage, which is something that we really like. The other thing I didn't touch on with that pattern adjustment, it's a 2-in-1 part circle and full circle. So if you turn this, so right now I've got it set to 90 degrees, goes quickly 90. If I take that arrow and turn it to 360 degrees, basically within one turn, now I've got an all-in-one non-reversing 360 degree sprinkler. So the cool thing about that is that most sprinklers you either have to pick part circle or full circle. Now the part circle will do 360 degrees, but it's going to go from 0 to 360 and from 360 back to 0. And so you can have a tendency to have this little sliver of dry spots if you're not using a full circle sprinkler. This solves that problem. And then you can actually just turn it back to, say, 180 degrees. And now all of a sudden we've still got the stop. So very cool sprinkler. A ratchet adjust stem You've got the flow control and the shutoff. So if you had an area that was, you know, just getting way too saturated, you could shut one individual sprinkler right off, keep the other ones on the zone running. You got that intelligent flow control so that you can bring back the distance, and you've got the easy set where you're just pointing the arrow at the number of degrees you want that sprinkler to do. Very, very cool, all in a 5-inch pop, and something that's not going to, that you're not going to be paying a premium for over other brands with similar offerings with not as many features. So that's why we're getting a lot of good feedback from contractors on the Super Pro Rotor. We're getting a lot of good feedback from homeowners on the Super Pro Rotor, putting it in a lot of our packages. That is how you adjust this thing. Very simple.